Basketball Zone. Leo Bias here on the chat saying the stream looks great. No buffering. He says trade me SGA. But if you guys aren't looking to trade SGA like you told me at the top of the show, what is it that you think that the Thunder need to do this offseason to start being a competitive team and being a playing competitive team next year?
Yeah, I'm not sure that the Thunder are going to go for the play in next year. I think that what's interesting is the Box and One had a report that they've heard that the Thunder want to package 30 and 34 for a veteran, which to me would go against everything that the Thunder have been messaging to their fans and to the media about tanking next year. If you add a veteran to this team that is worth pick 30 and 34, and we know that Sam Presti rarely, if ever, has the bad end of a deal in terms of value. So if you package pick 30 and 34 and get a veteran player, it's likely going to be down low because that's kind of where you need help. You need help at center, you have a power forward. You just need a big body down low, no matter if you draft Chet or not. You need a big body down low. If you trade those picks away for a veteran guy, then you fill out a roster that has a really nice balance of role players and high upside potential guys at the top to where it's going to be hard to lose if you do that. I'm not going to question Box and One's reporting. I'm just saying that kind of go against what we're hearing. I think that the Thunder are in a position where they are lucky enough to not be forced into anything. The Kings, it feels like they're forced to go for the playoffs. Even if they think that the best move would be to tank and to get Victor Wembanyama, or put themselves in position to try to get Victor Wembanyama and surround Fox with Wembanyama and the rest of the core, Davion Mitchell. It feels like the ownership and the team is not going to allow that to happen. And their GM's in the last year of his deal, and I just don't think that you'd want to risk that in your last year. So the Kings don't have the leverage of flexibility. I think that the Thunder do, of like, if they want to go for it and they want to trade 30 and 34 for a veteran and then trade a couple future first round picks for somebody else on the free agency market, or do a sign and trade for Ayton or whatever the case is, if they want to do that, they technically could, but it just doesn't sound like they do. It just doesn't seem like they do. I think that next year they'll roll with these draft picks into the regular season. They'll play fun, exciting basketball all the way up until the All-Star break, and then they'll slowly start to sit guys, and they'll do what teams like the Pacers did at the end of the year. I mean, the Pacers, the Blazers, they all went 0 for 10 at the end of the year and increased their odds from borderline play-in teams to bottom 10 teams in the league. So that's kind of, I think, that the demo. I don't think it'll be as egregious as it has been in these last couple of years, but I do think that at the end of the year, you're going to see a long losing streak rattled off, and hopefully get the Thunder in a bottom 5 position to go and get Victor Wembanyama if possible. Or again, that draft class is so deep that there are guys outside of Victor who you do want on your roster to complete a rebuild. I think that for the Thunder's case, young teams typically do not win. So even if you tried your very hardest, a team built around 4 rookies or 3 rookies, if you want to count the first round picks, will be hard pressed to win no matter how good they are. You just have to learn the NBA and learn through the growing pains of the NBA. So I think that next year's team looks a lot of fun and a lot of exciting talent. And then they pull off what seems to be their mission. Their mission seems to be next year is a year of rebuilding and tanking and kind of growing with your young team. And then in 2023, you have an absolute clean cap sheet. They are not paying anyone in 2023 outside of SGA. Everybody else is on a rookie contract because the Kemba Walker money falls off. He's owed $27.4 million this year. Kyle Singler money falls off. He's still owed $1 million this year. In 2023, the cap space is totally wide open. Everyone's on a rookie deal besides Shea's $32.9 million. They have a new CBA in place. Remember, the CBA last year, the last time around, is what allowed Kevin Durant to go to Golden State. So, they'll know all the rules. They'll know what to anticipate for. They'll know the loopholes and the language and new contracts that are going to come from the new CBA to help better prepare themselves against whatever small market issues arise in the new CBA. So they'll have the new CBA. They'll have a clean cap sheet. They'll have historic draft capital, and hopefully they'll have 3 guys looking for a very successful sophomore season coming up, plus SGA, plus Josh Giddy on this roster, to where then in 2023, you kind of go for it. You make a big trade, a big splash trade. You try to make a big splash signing. You try to do something to bolster the current roster and try to compete. I think that 2023 is going to be their year, and next year is just kind of a sit back and watch what happens and see how good these young guys are.
You don't think that, how do I put this? You don't think that there's a window, maybe even this season, with the development and next step that I think a lot of people are expecting to see from Giddy? At least I am. I think we saw nice moments from Giddy last season. I think it was a little bit of a disappointing rookie year in terms of I didn't get to see too much of him. He got injured a little bit. I think he took a minute to find his footing. But when he was on, he looked special. I really did like a majority of what I seen from him. Although, like I said, from most people, they say it was a little disappointing. SGA, I feel like we finally know what he is as a player. We want to see that 3-point shooting continue to trend upward. But I mean, he's been 36% from 3-point range. I think that's really good, especially for the fact that he's going to be driving to the basket quite a bit, and the lockdown defense that he brings on a night-to-night basis is phenomenal. But Lou Dort to me continues to be a question mark because I get that he's your defensive guy. He's that person, that rock for you. But do you think there's any way that they have I feel he's the biggest trade asset if you're not giving away SGA. Dort will carry the biggest trade asset there, being that his contract isn't too crazy. He does bring a need that most teams want. Is there a deal in place, or do you think this is the roster? Once the draft is over, maybe they go out and sign low-end talent here or there, veterans that are looking for a contract that need to be on the bench to guide these young players? Or do you think there's a deal in place that could happen where Dort is possibly on the move or another player's on the move that brings back significant help to SGA so they can start making those steps and be ready for 2023, as you say, where they make the big move?
Yeah, I think that for Giddy, he had a fantastic rookie year. He swept the Western Conference Rookie of the Month awards up until he got hurt. And of course, that's whenever Jalen Green won his one Rookie of the Month award for the Western Conference. If he can come back, he's working all offseason with Mike Wilkes, the Thunder assistant coach, on his jump shot. He's working on it. He's bringing Mike Wilkes to California, to Vegas, to Oklahoma City. He's working with Mike Wilkes all summer to get his jump shot right. If he can start to shoot league average from three, then he can be an excellent player because of his ability to create from the mid-range and his ability to create with that floater that he has at the rim. And if you give him a lob threat, then off that floater comes just unpredictability. Are you gonna lob it to the center? Are you gonna actually shoot the floater this time? What are you gonna do if you're Josh Giddey? So he has a lot of room to grow. I think he can be a Jason Kidd type of player if he can continue to develop throughout his entire career down the line. For SGA, he's an all-star caliber guy. His team just needs to win more games, and he's to stay healthy. That's all that has to happen for him to be an all-star caliber guy. Other than that, though, everything's kind of wide open. I think that with Lou Dort's contract situation, he's on an expiring deal. They're going to pick up his option. If they don't pick up his option, they're going to decline it, make him a restricted free agent, and then re-sign him. So either way, he's in OKC this next season. He's Shea's right-hand man. I mean, they're both Canadian. They're really good friends on and off the floor. I'm not sure that you'd trade Lou Dort, although I think that there's an option for that to happen if you do see yourself, picking an Ivy, right? Like how do you justify benching Lou Dort after all he's done, especially in a contract year, if you don't work out a long-term deal this offseason with him? And then, of course, with your second overall pick, or in this case, fourth overall pick, how would you bench Jaden Ivey, too, whenever you need to get as much reps as you can between him and Josh Giddey, if that were to happen? I think that there's a way to trade Lou Dort. I'm not sure that it would be for immediate help. I think that it would a package would kind of be like a future first or something like that, or even a first in this draft class coming up, whatever the case is with Lou Dort, because he only makes 1.9, so it's going to be hard to combine salaries. You can combine Derek Favors' salary, but at that point, does that hurt Lou Dort's value? Would you rather just re-sign Lou Dort? And if you want to trade him next year, or trade him at the trade deadline around then? So it'd be harder than it seems to work at a contract with Lou Dort. They already have 15 active players on their roster, although some of them would be easy to get rid of, like Teo Maledon's only making partial money. Isaiah Roby is on a team option. You have Vic Ritchie's only on partial money. Wiggins is on partial money. I think that they like those two guys. Then we'll keep those two guys around. Muscala, who's a veteran that's aging and is having ankle issues, is on a 3.5 club option that they can turn down. It's easy to get rid of Ty Jerome at $4 million. It's easy to get rid of Derek Favors, just outright cut him for $10 million. So there are ways to create roster spots, but as of right now, their roster is pretty full entering the draft. So I think that this will be the team. Whoever they draft in the draft will be the team. They're not really going to go make a huge splash in the trade markets or in free agency, and they just kind of roll with it. I think that you could see, if Darius basically struggles again, you could see him getting moved as an expiring contract and just as a change of scenery to try to help his career at some point in season. But I really don't expect there to be too much roster turnover besides the draft class this year.